Constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis. A constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis. In a constitutional crisis. 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 This is a constitutional crisis.
So, who is the actual screenwriter of this play that we're all living in? I mean, that's the question you have to ask when you see things like this. And I made some offhand remark about how you could be forgiven if you feel like the EU is being run now by Westworld robots, which was really a sarcastic, snarky joke. But now we have a bunch of Democratic senators reading from the same script.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true.
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 That ain't true. That ain't true.
That ain't true.
That ain't true.
That ain't true.
That ain't.
All right, a little highlight from our previous show. If you missed it, make sure you go back and watch yesterday's show. I think you'll really find it interesting and entertaining. But we have 5 new stories for you today. Happy Monday if you're watching live or if you're watching tuning in after the fact. We're glad that you're here. We do 5 news stories in 5 minutes, weekdays at 5 Eastern. We give you all the news that you can use. Nothing that would make you confused or give you the blues. It's just 5 stories in 5 minutes that you can use. So if your career's already in a high gear, or if you're just sitting in a cubicle box and checking your stocks, waiting to say game over to the work game or anywhere in between, we'd like to suggest a new show with a very practical name. Once you watch one show to the end, you'll never be the same. It's the top 5 news. Tonight we have 5 amazing stories for you, so let's get into it. It's what is today? Monday, and tonight we have Keir Starmer stepping down. Story number 1: Keir Starmer has resigned, and he's announced that he's stepping down as the leader of the Labour Party. You recall he's the one the other day who floated the idea of making 16-year-olds have to identify themselves before watching any social media. And he was the head of the Labour Party, and he faced a growing rebellion within his own ranks, and he'll remain as prime minister until a new leader is chosen. The move comes just weeks after he suffered heavy losses in local elections. Former Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham is now widely seen as the frontrunner to replace him. Britain is now on track for its 7th prime minister in 10 years. Story number 2 today: U.S.-Iran talks bringing diplomatic progress between the United States and Iran. After 2 days of high-level talks in Switzerland, mediators from Qatar, Pakistan say both sides have agreed to a 60-day roadmap toward a final peace deal. And J.D. Vance says the discussions laid a good foundation. The U.S. has also authorized limited Iranian oil sales as part of the negotiation, and oil prices dropped in the news amid easing fears of a wider conflict calming down. That's good news, right? Story 3 today, sports update rundown. In the FIFA World Cup, Lionel Messi made history today. 38-year-old broke the all-time record for goals in a World Cup. Sorry, let's see here. Computer's fighting me. Ever since I talked about that SAVE Act and the election integrity, every day some big computer issue, but it's okay. It's all going to work. Okay, so the 38-year-old Lionel Messi, men's World Cup goal scoring record with a 2-0 Argentina win over Austria. Yeah. Let's see here. Major League Baseball All-Star voting is heating up now with the fan ballots. Several young stars are emerging in the balloting. The Reds pitcher Chase Burns, Wyndham Clark is your 2026 U.S. Open champion. The Dallas Mavericks hired Michigan's Dusty May as their new head coach. That's your overview in sports stories. For the Android developer verification, Google is rolling out a major new system for Android apps, as the company is now requiring developers to verify their real ID. Got to show an ID if you want to make an app now. I think it's a good idea. What do you think? You decide. You got to show your ID before you're making your app and before it can be installed on the certified Android devices. Once verified, developers must register their apps. Only apps with links to verified developers will be allowed to install and update on certified phones and tablets in certain regions starting later this year. It applies to not only Google Play, but also several major third-party app stores. Google says the goal is to improve security and accountability by making it much harder for bad actors to rapidly deploy malicious apps or distribute scams through side loading. Think of it as an ID check for the developers. Story 5 tonight. M&M's. Did you hear this story? The M&M's going dye free. M&M's is making a big brand change starting August. The candy will be rolling out to versions made without rolling out versions made without, I don't know how many, made without artificial dyes. The two classic colors, blue and brown, will be missing at the launch. The move comes after pressure from MAHA, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and the Make America Healthy Again movement. Mars, the company behind M&M, says that natural blue dye is simply too expensive to produce at scale right now. Some people are already reacting with humor. One person summed up the biggest fear of the removal of artificial dyes and additives. My biggest fear is my Red Vines licorice. You can FAFO if you want, Robert Kennedy Jr., but I will not disarm. Those are your top 5 news stories for tonight, 5 o'clock Eastern. I'm Joe Palaio. Thank you for watching, and we'll have more updates for you throughout the next week, the rest of the week. And before we go, here's a word of encouragement for you. Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, in every situation, in prayer and petition, with your thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. So no matter what's happening in the news today, may you walk in peace and in clarity this evening, and we'll see you here tomorrow.